got Extraordinary here. Go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you play.
My name is Steve Buren, and I play bass.
I'm Kurt Mangold, and I play guitar.
Rob Fitzgerald, drums, vocals.
Stephanie Weaver, vocals.
Everybody wants to be my guest, I guess, 'cause I get it free, +1.
Go ahead and give a little band history, like how you guys formed or...
Well, this band formed in '09. Me and Rob, I just moved back. Me and Rob got together, started jamming, a different bass player and a different singer.
We were going to be a soul band.
We still are.
Yeah.
And
After a couple of years?
a year or
It's
so,
2011.
they got tired of our shit, and these two came on board and still aren't tired of our shit. So basically,
So
that's,
says you.
And me and Rob and Steve, me and Rob started playing together in 1982. Like maybe 1983. Me, Rob, and Steve played in Brompton's Cocktail. It was Guardrails, me and Rob. Brompton's Cocktail started in 1985. We played it for a couple of years. And then these two guys played in the Kelly Girls for a couple of years. And then everybody went off and became big rock stars.
Yep, that's
And then
right.
we came back. And so we're now here.
So were those
Steph-
all like Lawrence acts?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I played in a band called Wayback Machine in the early 90s.
We were
Before
the,
I'm going to let you explain that.
Yeah.
And Wayback Machine was awesome.
Awesome.
They were.
Great singer.
Yeah.
I guess you could say like we all were like outhouse kids. That's
Yeah.
where we all met, and that's where we played. And then when I left in 1990, Steve and Kurt had a band together, and we knew Stephanie's older sister, but by that time she was almost 17 by that time, and
Yeah.
she had her own band
Yeah.
and the Wayback Machine, right? And that was
That was-
college time,
College.
and then I ended up on the West Coast. I continued to play music in some groups, and then I came back in '98, and Steve and I we had a super group. Basically, we called the Gourmet Mushroom X, which was
I think you spelled that wrong. It's soup.
soup or group. It was either soup or a group, and it was the Gourmet Mushroom X, and we played through the early 2000s. Basically, we had three or four guitar players, two drums, bass, and then a half dozen of our friends, all musician types, would do like special guest vocal appearances, and we did a lot of like the old classic songs from Ramones and Rolling Stones, and then we also did a lot of the songs that all of our various friends had written over the years.
Oh,
So we
nice.
kind of had that thing.
And I played in that.
And then Kurt came back in what'd you come back? 2001.
01.
You were around for a few years. Kurt played with us then, but then he left again. And then we continued the Gourmet Mushroom X. And then by the time Kurt came back, we'd all pretty much kind of stopped because Steve had a child and we were all busy working. But Kurt and I got together, like you said, in 2009 and started. And we got Steve and Stephanie involved in a couple years later. And that's been 5 years now, I think, that we've been.
Together.
Six?
Actually, since
Yeah.
2011, yep.
So how did you guys settle on Extraordinary, the band name?
Because extraordinary meaning were very, very ordinary. Like extra
Yeah.
crispy, you know. So
I think the gourmet
kinda-
mushroom X thing kind of made me want to, you know, it's like kind of a tie-in, you know, this X thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
we might have, if we would have known, we might have changed it to something like Pollo Vivo. But, you know, extraordinary. As long as you explain it to people that we're not saying we're extraordinary,
yeah,
that we are just very ordinary.
Extraordinary.
Or we're ordinary and she's the extra.
We've done that too, yeah, depending on how you want to slice the cake that day, right?
So what are you guys' influences? You know, individually or just as a band as a whole?
Well, I kind of always liked the Minneapolis bands, you know, your Husker Du, Replacements, and some of the West Coast stuff too, like Red Cross and the Descendants. We talked earlier about some of the country flavored stuff, like, you know, Blood on the Saddle and Jason the Scorchers. I like that stuff, but what bleeds through today is probably more that Minneapolis sound for me. But nobody really notices the influences of the bass player. So then these guys had
What
their
about you?
Yeah, rock and roll, and glam rock, and lots of punk rock, and you know, kind of the straightforward, less metal, just straight rock and roll. New York Dolls, obviously. You know, Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and then up to like, you know, Red Cross, and certainly the Replacements. You know, huge, and if nothing else, in attitude. And, you know, wishing we had that kind of talent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's things when we write songs, they just come out as they are, and that's just what it is. And you know, I figured out a long time ago that I couldn't figure out other people's songs very well, so I had to write my own songs, and that's where we are now.
So what about your guys' influences?
Off the top of my head, definitely Chrissy Hine, Debbie Harry, Joan Jett, Chris Cornell. You can hear a lot too, a bunch of the songs. So I was really sad to see him go recently. Yeah, off the top of my head, that's what I can think of.
You know, I don't know. I played when I was a kid in the marching band, and I've always played music. The Beatles were like the first band that I was in love with, but my mom had already turned me on to Chuck Berry and Ray Charles and, you know, all the old 50s stuff. Before that, she loved all the doo-wop stuff. And then I'd say what changed my mind about that stuff was Black Sabbath when I was like 10 years old. And then I was lucky enough to live through most of the rock and roll era, so like the whole rock and roll era influenced me. But you know, Charlie Watts from the Rolling Stones has always been one of my favorites. And like Steve and Kurt both mentioned, we were the northern punk rock was very influential to us. The Soul Asylum, the Husker Du, the Replacements. But I also love the Southern California punk rock. You know, I was a giant Circle Jerks fan, and I always liked Fear and Black Flag, but you know, on and on and on. You know, I guess I've just always been listening to music all my life, so I guess everything's an influence. But I guess probably as far as playing music, I mean, playing with Kurt and Steve for 30 years, well, that's, you know, that has a lot to do with musical inspiration too. We play what we play not because of what we liked, but because of what we do ourselves.
What we can.
What we can do ourselves. What our natural affinities made to make an amalgamation of what we are is.
I learned a lot from these two guys because I was just a teenager when I met them. And I know for a fact Kurt turned me on to a lot of glam stuff that I was aware of but never really listened to, like the Dolls and T-Rex, that kind of stuff. And then Rob turned me on to a whole... I mean, he was the first person to play the Descendants for me and the Replacements. And First time I'd heard Run DMC, but the first time I listened to the Run DMC album was with Rob.
You know, I think we probably might all agree that if you had to crystallize it down to one person, it might be David Bowie. It might be David Bowie.
Yeah.
Because we all had this affinity for
Vocal
David Bowie,
influence for me, too.
beautiful musician, and you know, and that's not, you know, a lot of people are saying that these days, but I think we've been saying it for years. You
Yeah.
know, we've always been Bowie is our kind of guiding light. You know, he's got that pop sound, but it's rock music, but it's there. You had that glam element that we all were fans of, and his beautiful voice. I mean, you know, there's just something about that. You know, if you had to crystallize it down to one act that might most easily be considered all of our influence. You know, there's a million bands we all like together, but Bowie might be the one. You know, some bands would say Led Zeppelin or the Rolling Stones or the Clash, but I'm sticking with Bowie.
Yeah.
We don't care what car you drive, what you do to survive. We want you to stay alive and thrive.
What's funny is that most people, if you ask somebody that knows us as a band, what they would think our biggest influence was, it would be crap, because they always say we sound like crap.
How do you guys go about your writing process? This is one person.
Kurt's mostly the main songwriting guy. That song, the Plus One, Steve wrote, and Kurt's mostly been a songwriter. He's the guy who's always he's always done it. I mean, he's always written songs. We've all tried. Steve's got some good tunes that he's written over the years. But you know, Kurt still can churn one out.
Yeah.
You know,
So does he write something and then present it into practice?
Oh,
And you're just gonna
Yeah.
go off of that.
Yeah,
Pretty
I have
much.
to fill in the lyrics every once in a while.
Yeah.
But
I got something to do tonight. I need someone to do it. We can rig out without pay. Getting on the guest list.
I mean, that's because we've all done this together for so long. It's kind of pretty natural.
yeah.
Sometimes Kurt
plays
has
and
the
it
song
comes pretty
completely
quickly.
figured out, and other times he has the guts of it, and
Just
we kind of
little bits and pieces.
maybe hash out the arrangement, but
And then we don't care. I just kind of came up with a riff on the spot, and we jammed it, and then I took it home and made
Worked on it
words
some
to
more.
it and arranged it and brought it back, and was like, how about this? And everybody said, we don't care. I was like, perfect.
So is there any like upcoming news? You know, do you guys have like working on a new album or anything like that, or
We've been kind of doing some recording, but nothing for real.
Yeah.
You know, nothing.
just
that
doing
we're-
shows?
Yeah, as much as we can with.
I think that it comes
Figure
right down
schedule.
to we just all like to get together and play some music, and if we can perform, then we can pay our rent for our practice space. But at the end of the day, we like. I mean, you know, people say, "Oh, we just do it for our own edification." Well, that's true, but we really do want the adulation of our friends too.
Well, it's a public art form.
Yes, it is a public art. You can't really, you know,
Yeah, it's,
we can, you know, I can't imagine. I imagine that we'll have one of the two of the four of us, or three of the four of us, or all four of us, will be somewhere around playing some sort of form of music in some form or other for the rest of our lives. And I can imagine that me and Steve will go to practice one Tuesday, and on the next Friday he'll have to carry my casket down to the undertakers. You know, I mean, we do it because we love to do it.
We
You
almost did
know?
that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we love to do it. That's why we do it, and that's, you know, at the end of the day, well, you know, obviously we'd like to get paid a whole lot of money to do it too.
Yeah.
But barring that, we're going to continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
So what are your thoughts on the music scene here? 'Cause it sounds like you guys been a part of it for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Time.
You know,
Oh yeah.
how do you feel about it then to now? Like, has it changed a lot since then?
Oh yeah.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah, it has a
and no.
lot because you know I don't see my friends out barely ever anymore.
Exactly.
You can still go see a couple bands a night in Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah.
Pretty much. There's going to be something to do, and there's people that still go see it. It seems like it's less people at some shows you go to, and then other shows you go, oh, well, that's where everybody is.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well, changing musical taste, obviously,
Yeah.
Well, it's
But there's still a scene. There's still a punk rock music, loud,
not
angry
it's
people around this town that do plenty of that kind of stuff.
It's not
so.
really the change of taste so much as that it's there's just a lot more taste to have now.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot more
Other groups
formalized.
like Red Kate and the People's Punk Band,
yeah.
and
People's Punk Band's gonna be on the comp.
they're awesome.
Yeah.
They're
I love
awesome. I
them.
can't say enough good things
Saw
about
them.
those
Yep.
guys.
Friday night.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
They're nice guys,
Yeah.
and they're our contemporaries. They're about the same age as us, maybe a couple years younger. But guys like that are still churning out on kind of a professional level. They're really, really good.
Yeah.
And there's always a jillion bands that come and go that there's just not enough time to see them all or know who they are. But there's a whole scene of probably 1,000 musicians in this town that I don't know any of those people.
Right. I mean, it's kind of interesting because there's also, there's the regular scene, but there's also like a scene amongst us over 50s, or over 45s. There's, all the guys who all played when they were young, they still have bands, and
Yeah.
we play the matinee now, but
Yeah.
but there's still. I mean, I can think of 10 different groups of people that play music. Get together, make recordings.
Yeah.
I mean,
We just don't stay up as late.
they just don't. They don't. It's hard to play at 1 o'clock in the morning set when
Yeah.
you woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My plus one. My plus one.
It's a little
And the
different
kids are
thing.
sleeping
And
upstairs.
the kids are sleeping
Yeah.
upstairs.
Get your kid off
But
the
we
floor.
still. I mean, we still can get some people. We still get people out, and just like I said, our contemporaries still get people out to see music. So
Yeah.
we don't feel like we
It's a
still
good scene.
we feel like we're part of the scene still.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just a little bit different. Scene.
As much as we
Yeah.
ever were.
As much as we ever were. Yeah.
We're always,
part-time.
on the edge.
Yeah.
We're always on the edge of a scene.
So for this comp, you have the two songs. Is there any specific reason why you chose the two songs? I know one of them you said earlier was a new one, and one of them's like an older one.
That's pretty much, that's kind of the
Yeah.
reason why, and they're both pretty straightforward punk rock songs,
And they
They're,
could have been written at the
Extra
same
punk
time.
rock.
They're
Yeah.
25 years apart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and we thought it was kind of cool.
at
And
least we're consistent.
Yeah. The song, like Stephanie said, they were 25 years apart.
Yeah.
And they sound like they were
Yeah.
both written yesterday or
Mhm.
25 years
Written
ago.
for the same
or,
album.
Yeah.
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 we haven't grown an inch. Not an
That's
inch.
one way to look at it.
So how can people find your music or whatever, your presence online? Is there, do you have any
We're on
specific-
Facebook, just Extraordinary. On YouTube, Extraordinary R&R, as in rock and roll,
Yeah.
on YouTube. And
I guess you could probably provide them with all the links.
I think we're on Reverb Nation to Extraordinary, but it's kind of all the same stuff. So if you go to one, YouTube, we have a bunch of live videos.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's mostly
And,
live recordings.
There's a couple
Yeah,
other
from
things
shows.
on there too. Yeah, mostly replay shows, a couple other shows. It's just some with Shane, our old singer,
Mhm.
and Dondo, who played bass with us before, and we do a few covers when we play live, and we try to rotate them out. So a lot of the songs on there are actually covers
Yeah.
that we don't play anymore and haven't played them for 5 or 6 years,
Yeah.
and play them twice or 3 times, and then rotate them out and play something else fun.
All right. Well, I guess that's it.
Cool.
Thank you guys for being a part of the comp.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.